And thank you so much, Adam. Chuck and family here now. We're going to review 2 movies that are in theaters. So what are we starting with, guys? I'm going to let you take it away.
We're talking about artists today.
Yes.
Ironically, and we're talking about one of the most famous artists, one of the most famous tragic artists, Vincent van Gogh. In a great movie at Eternity's Gate up at the Art Theater, they examine his life. I shouldn't say his life, the last few years of his life, in which he is in France trying to find, I guess I don't want to say his voice, but his vision as he goes out into nature and tries to capture these little moments of life that he is trying to, also interpret as far as how he sees the world. There is Mads Mikkelsen as a priest, and they have a very interesting conversation that Pam will allude to here. And Willem Dafoe there as Van Gogh. Dafoe, as we've said time and time again, the guy can do no wrong. And the same here. He's just absolutely heartbreaking here as this artist who just is out of step with the times. I mean, he wants to be a part of this new artist collective, and there you saw Paul Gauguin, played by Oscar Isaac, but they shun him. They shun him because of his behavior. He's mentally ill. He doesn't really know how to behave socially. It leads to many problems. And also, he doesn't realize that his vision, which is distinctly different from other artists at the time, is what he should be adhering to. Not following in the steps of others, but sticking to his own self. If you know anything about Van Gogh, and Julian Schnabel, the director-artist, does, you're going to see recreations of places where he was, the famous Yellow Room where he was at, as well as some of the paintings that he did. Great moment there when he paints his tattered boots. Wonderful little piece of inspiration that he captures. It's a tragic story, but boy, this is really well worth seeing. It's a beautiful story as well of this guy just trying to find his way. And we've all been lost, and I think we can all relate to it.
And we've all been found. Pam?
That's right, and I have found this movie to be absolutely extraordinary. It has a very slow start. It's almost like the artist Julian Schnabel, who created this film, has the blank canvas, and he picks up in the middle of Van Gogh's life and then paints this picture. It's step by step, it's layer by layer. And by the time you get to the middle of the film, that's when things really pick up, and we learn a little bit more about his mental disorder and his difficulties in his relationship with his brother, as well as Paul Gauguin. And one of my favorite scenes in the film is actually what you alluded to with Mads Mikkelsen. And he plays a priest, and he equates himself kind of to Jesus and before his time, and his skills and his visions are very different than that of his colleagues at the time. It becomes this gorgeous, beautiful piece that is really a masterpiece, and I think everyone really needs to take the time to see this. Hang in there. In the first part, it is slow, but it really picks up, and I think it is. And okay, whatever. And I highly recommend seeing this film. Really is a beautiful piece.
At the Art Theater.
At the Art Theater. So what you're saying is that people should Van Gogh.
Oh.
Get in the van and go.
Thank you. And so what is the next
I don't want to go on.
movie? Okay, Celine Dion. Well, what's the next art movie that we can expect to see this?
We're taking a look at Marwen. And this stars Steve Carell. It's co-written by Robert Zemeckis and Caroline Thompson, directed by Robert Zemeckis. And Zemeckis gave us some classic films, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump. These are films that live on in people's memories very positively. This, however, will not be one of them. Steve Carell stars as Mark Hogenkamp, and he was brutally beaten within inches of his life, suffered a head trauma which wiped out his memory of everything prior to the attack and left him with PTSD. He deals with the PTSD by creating this make-believe world with these dolls, and all of these dolls are based on characters in his real life. The cinematography and the special effects creating these dolls out of the real people is extraordinary. It's a really imaginative and creative film in that way. Unfortunately, that's where it stops. The dolls are probably as one-dimensional as the actual people are that they're based off of. We spend way too much time in make-believe land. We don't get to know who this character was, who Steve Carell's character was prior to the attack, so we don't have that sense of loss within the film. Carell does what he can. The rest, like I said, what is her name?
Leslie Mann.
Leslie Mann is just way too goody two-shoes on everything. Her boyfriend is just way too all evil. There's just it's all black and white, and there are no shades of gray. So I was really disappointed in this.
Yeah, me too. When you have that roster of talent,
right,
you're expecting a lot. And I just think the film can't get beyond the gimmick. It gets stuck on this gimmick, this visual thing in which he's representing, you know, his real life in this fantasy world, and they just can't get beyond that. There's really no heart in this film, and that's surprising, as you say, with Zemeckis at the helm.
And it's based on a true story.
Right.
And this was a documentary back in 2010, and it just doesn't capture that same spirit. And no heart, like you said, no heart.
Going to be one of the biggest bombs of the year financially.
Well,
they're saying.
You never know what you're going to get. Right?
Ah, okay, we're going.
Box of chocolates, okay?
Thanks, right.
Yeah, Forrest Gump.
You were just bursting, waiting to say that.
As you guys were talking, I'm just trying to think of something that would make sense here, and then it just pops out, you know? I don't know. We were just talking about this in the newsroom because it was expected to be quite good, and it actually tanked, so I'm not surprised. So maybe skip this one, guys. Get your own doll, whatever. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you.
Check them out online, too. They have a Facebook page. What is it called, guys?
Real Talk with Chuck and Pam.
Oh, in unison. Thank you guys so much.
And we have a special contest going on, so make sure you check it out.
Oh, you could win. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Always fun. We'll be right back, you guys.